Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine Cristani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I'm joined by the lovely Irina Shehovsov. She is a transformational coach, a founder and CEO of Reclaim Your Life, a speaker with a passion for writing, author of The Gift Inside, and a mental health advocate. With her Happiness Academy program, she helps her clients rediscover their happiness and purpose after loss, burnout, or emotional pain. Irina is also a certified NLP trainer, and she speaks 2 languages and has over 20 years of experience in corporate business world. She is the host of the podcast Single Parent Success Stories and Reclaim Your Life with Irina, and she has written 7 books. So a big welcome to the show, Irina.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine.
So you have done a lot in your life, which is amazing. So I feel to ask, what led you to now spreading beautiful happiness to women and allowing them to reclaim who they are? What was the story there?
The story is I became a single parent of a newborn and a 5-year-old and living in miserable state of being for about a year, waiting for somebody to come rescue me. And of course, nobody did. So I decided to rescue myself because however I was living wasn't working. I feel like I had less loss of identity. I was someone else's spouse, someone else's mom, but I didn't know who I was as a person. And so one fateful morning, I was standing on a station platform and I missed my train by mere seconds. And I started sobbing and crying because every day I felt I was getting closer to my death. Well, I didn't feel like I was living. It was constant rush. And I started asking myself, what is the point of all this rushing? Where are we rushing to? And so at that moment, I decided that I didn't come here to suffer. I want to figure out a better way to live. There must be more to this thing called life. I didn't know how or what, but ultimately I decided to be happy and figure out a way to get there. And I was on the journey that kind of started. Personal development and growth and learning different things. Joined Toastmasters, which allowed me to be comfortable as being uncomfortable. Gotten myself a voice coach, which allowed me to sing what I couldn't speak. And it's such an amazing comparison because I just used to use a lot of my analytical brain, and here I get to use my creative side. And I was able to, because therapies for me did not work out. I'm not saying they're bad, just in my situation, singing was so much better. And then what culminated in September 2019, I was in Growth Summit in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got inspired by Evan Carmichael, who said there is not enough belief in this world today, and you should help somebody who is a step behind you. And I decided to help women like myself who felt lost, who felt that the best years are over and it's not possible, but I want to share that it is possible. And you actually, it's never too late to change. Yes, it is difficult, but it is never too late. We have the power to write what comes next.
Yeah, I have this saying that's on my website, and it says you're never too young or too old to be reacquainted with your soul.
Yeah.
Because, so often we forget that life doesn't have to stay how it is. If you're not happy like you did and missing the train, you can make those conscious choices to step out of that cycle that you've been in. And sometimes it's just something as small as missing the train that will wake you up, right? Like when you're ready, your soul's screaming, they'll give you those signs that you need to move to where you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with creating the Happiness Academy program, and you've also written this book, The Gift Inside. So what inspired you to write The Gift Inside, or what led to you creating this book and all your other books as well?
Yeah. So the gift inside, what inspired me, I wanted to be one of my dreams when I used to go on a morning walk, and I still do. And I used to recite Tony Robbins calls the power hour, where you create what you want your life to be. And at that time, I wanted to become an author. I wanted to speak on stages, sing on stages. And those were my dreams. And writing books. So this was happening in around 2015, 2016. In 2022, I was able to start my writing journey. I became an author. And the gift inside actually came out in last year. It's going to be 1 year old
Oh,
this December.
congratulations.
And that's a kind of the methodology that I talk about. I'm all about holistic, wholesome being because I believe we operate in physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states. And so in the book, I'm sharing simple habits in those spaces in physical health, emotional, mental, and spiritual, because I believe that that's the foundation before you can do anything. I'm all about live, dream, and grow. And live component is about our health. What kind of health do we have? Because if we don't feel good in our body, if we feel something is missing, we're not going to be dreaming about what we want to create. We're going to be so focused on what is not working. And so what inspired me to write the book, again, the whole idea is it's the gift inside, 12 steps to heal unworthiness, brokenness, victim mentality, so that you can find your happy. I'm sharing tools that help me on my own journey to become happy again.
Yeah.
And it's not in the next relationship. It's not when somebody comes into your life or leaves your life. You have the ability to generate happiness from within. Just like electric plant generates electricity, we are able to generate that happiness by creating those micro things, little habits in our day-to-day living. It's not like, we get, if you want to have good oral hygiene, we brush our teeth every day, sometimes twice a day, right? So the same with happiness, you got to maintain it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about having,
Bliss
unicorns and
experiences.
rainbows all
Yeah.
the time, but having
Bliss. Yeah. Yeah.
contentment.
Yeah. It's funny because we're being so taught that happiness is this bliss state, right? Like it's like, oh, my life's amazing, which some days it is like that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, happiness is more that just sense of content and feeling at peace and, knowing that you are enough, that you are here to share whatever you're meant to share. And I think it's really beautiful what you said about, with health, because if your health isn't okay, a lot of people are like, but I'm doing all this spiritual work. But if you neglect the human, the body, we are in a body. We need to maintain it. And I relate with this so much, Irina, because on Friday I had a back spasm, and I knew exactly what it was. So I knew the spiritual thing behind it, I knew the energetic thing behind it, but I still couldn't. I still had to go to my acupuncturist to get it released, and it's still not 100%. And I said to her, in our appointment, said, "Can you book me in for Friday?" And she's like, "What? What do you mean?" I said, I have to come back again. There's another layer. And sure enough, I felt amazing. And then this other layer came out, and I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm doing the energetic work with that. But and then someone said to me today that I was using my body as a punching bag. And I found that really interesting. So instead of dealing with whatever I need to deal with, I put it, manifest it into my body, and then it comes out that way. So it was just really interesting because it was like what you were saying, where you have to go with that inside to find that happiness. And it's the same if your body's not working how you want it to work, keep looking. Like, don't accept what someone tells you. If you feel there's something else, keep looking and keep finding something that until your health realigns.
Yes. And oftentimes we assign this responsibility to others and we don't listen to our own body. And our body is always communicating with us, always sending us signals. And sometimes we choose to dismiss them. So our body starts screaming louder until, like,
Yes.
are you paying attention now?
I've had this discussion multiple times this week. And I have a friend / client, and her body, to get her to pay attention, broke every bone in her foot. And and she said, why was it such an extreme? And then she got this message when she asked that, and it was, well, we had to do extreme because you weren't listening to the subtle parts. And you know what I'm talking about, Irina. And it does. And then when you sit back and you see like all the build up to it, you're like, oh, I really wasn't paying attention to what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also love like the part of your story where you were channeling your emotions into your singing as a way to express what was happening with you. Did you always love singing, or it was just something that just popped into your head because it brought you happiness, or how did that come about?
Well, it was one of my dreams is to sing on stages.
Yeah.
And I haven't had I just sang here and there, but this one I got a voice coach and I started learning. And the different was that I only was singing during those sessions. I didn't really practice at home much. So I didn't notice much growth at that time. Now I don't have a coach, but I sing every single day and I see such much bigger improvement. Of course, the coaching helped in the beginning stages, but now I see, because it's something that we got to do every day, then we see a noticeable change.
Yeah.
Like, dedicate yourself to that. And I'm glad I stuck it out. It still is in my life today.
Yeah,
It's
which is
something I recommend people to do. Do something that sets your soul on fire for 10 minutes or more every day. And that's what I wrote in one of my books, 10
yeah.
minutes of joy.
I love that so much. And so now that you're coaching women and you're using a range of processes, what is something that you find that you wish every kind of person that came across you would just know about themselves?
That they are worthy, just the way they are. They don't need to prove themselves to anybody. They are worthy just by the fact that they are alive, that they are breathing and living. And I believe we all have a gift inside of us, and it is up to us to find what that gift is and then share it with others.
Yeah, 100%. And I so I feel like we speak the same language, Irina. And I feel anyone listening who is just shaking their head going, there's nothing special about me, or I don't have a gift. We all have psychic gifts. We all have some sort of superpower that allows us to be who we are and that allows us to shine our soul out in the world. You just have to find it. It's just been buried and forgotten, and it's all those hidden wounds, which I know that's something that you're passionate that you share with people too.
Yeah, yes. I call it, we all have, and sometimes we really kind of take ourselves, I guess, for granted. It's something you do without even thinking it. For somebody else, it could be such a great deal. Like, for example, you have this podcast and you're just so comfortable just having conversations with strangers. I mean, people you haven't met before, but then, you go and you do it so effortlessly and so good, and you're so open and communicative and just incredible at how you are doing as a host.
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
and you're doing it so effortlessly, so you consider it's like, I just do it, it's just who I am. And for somebody else it could be, wow, you're doing that. Like, I can't even, like, I'm personally a recovering introvert, yet I am also a podcast host and I have written books.
What's so funny, Irina, because I started my podcast to blow open my throat chakra because I had to I had to get over being scared of being seen in the world and being heard. So the thing that popped in my head is like, I'm going to start a podcast. And then you get, everyone starts a podcast. This is not true. I just want to say, if anyone's like, maybe I should do a podcast, it's not true. Not everyone does have a podcast. And if you're passionate about, want to share something or learn something, then why not? Like, what's everyone has a story to share. Why not put it on some sort of platform if you want to, if that aligns with you? Like you said, you're an introvert, Irina, but at the same time, you have 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about what your podcast's about? Because they're very different topics.
Yes. So the first one is called Single Parent Success Stories, and how that podcast started. I was in a Brandon Bouchard mastermind, and a fellow masterminder was interviewing entrepreneurs and sharing their stories. And I said, what a great idea. I want to speak to single parents who've been there, done that. Because I didn't consider myself an expert in parenting by no means. I wanted to, and there is a lot of stigma about single parenting. I mean, now there are more and more single parents, but when I became one, I was alone as a single parent. Everybody else was all together and married. So that's how first podcast started, and first guests were from the mastermind who believed in my crazy idea. I had no idea how to run a podcast. I was just inspired to have an interview. And what evolved over the last, I started in 2020, so 5 years. What evolved is I now expanded and I interviewed 3 types of guests: single parents who've past or present, as well as experts to help navigate post-divorce journeys. So I had spoken with different people from all walks of life, whether it's physical health, emotional, mental, and spiritual, to help people, single parents, navigate this journey, because you know, before, if you have kids, you read all those books how to be a parent, but of course when kind of the tire hits the road, when it's happening in real life, all those books you kind of learn on the job. Well, there is no book on how to navigate single parenting, how to navigate life, how to process emotions. So that was the goal for that podcast, to give people those tools by sharing stories of single parents and also experts. And I also speak to adult children who grew up in a single parent home, to understand what challenges they faced, what do they wish to tell parents who are raising kids now, what worked, what didn't, what could be done better. And as a result of the podcast, I became an author as well. So I was able to realize my dream, because one of the podcast guests was a publisher, and she invited me to be part of her book. It was a compilation, and I contributed a chapter. So that's how single parent success stories got started.
I love that. I love that. But that was it. Like, it was just that one spark idea, right? And then
Yeah.
everyone going, "Oh, I'll be on your show. I'll be on your show." That was like, I was, I've had some really amazing guests, and people like, how'd you get them on your show? And I'm like, I asked. And they're like, what? I said, worst case, they would have said no. Like, what? There's no harm or foul. It's not like it's a judgment on me. I'm just asking, would you like to be on my show? And I did get no's. And then I got some amazing yeses as well. Sorry. um, this is it, right? And I feel it's really important what you said too about, parents, we read all the books, but sometimes we just need to throw it out, and sometimes you just need to trust your own intuition and your own gut feeling about what's happening too, especially with kids. I've only got one, and I'm a one and done mum, but he was an interesting toddler. Let's just say, I remember this moment, and my husband and I looked at each other and we were like, we can't do this again. And by that point, we hadn't realized it was sugar. He couldn't metabolize sugar, so sugar was setting him off like crazy. And like people don't believe us, but he used to like throw he had metal trains, used to throw them at the wall and punches and all this stuff from the sugar, from his reaction with the sugar. And once we realized it was that, and we took him off, and we actually explained to him. So it was like a nearly 3-year-old. We said to him, when you eat sugar, this is what happens to you. How do you feel in your body when you say that? And he is so good, even to this day. Like, he will go to a party and he will be the only kid that eats fruit. And he'll be the only one that doesn't have the lollies or doesn't have the soft drink. And everyone's like, how did you do that? We're like, we just explained to him what it was. But that's not in a parenting book. No one taught us how to do that. That was us just trusting what's coming through. So, and now you've got your other podcast as well.
Yes. The other one is called Reclaim Your Life with Irina. And the idea for that one, I speak with people who had a wake-up call that suddenly changed trajectory of their life for the better. Not necessarily spiritual, it could be any kind of wake-up call where they lived one way and suddenly realized however they were living wasn't working and they needed to change. So whether it was a near-death experience, or maybe they decided to lose weight, or have a new appreciation for life. And the idea again is to bring back hope, to share stories of people who thought they were stuck, but they overcome those challenges and they were able to come out on the other side to create a happy life for themselves. I also share my own tools from my journey as well. So that's podcast been 2 years. Have been
Amazing.
out for 2 years.
Yeah. And for anyone listening, a lot of people, when they start a podcast, they don't get past 10 episodes or something like that, and then they kind of give up. I don't get that, because I love it. So, and obviously you like it too. You have two.
I was waiting to start the second one because it's a lot of responsibility. You create it and then you don't want to just kind of do it
Yeah,
haphazardly.
exactly. You want to put some love and energy into it so that it resonates with those people who are listening to it as well.
Yes.
So, and I fully understand that, but I feel it's really important for anyone listening that the message is that you can change your life at any point, right? Like, that was
Yes.
definitely your story and what you're sharing with others. But I love that you're creating this hope, because sometimes when we're feeling really down and we can't see a way out, sometimes we need to hear those stories to inspire us to make the changes that we need to get out or shift our life. Or, like you said, your moment was you missed a train. My moment was my business fell apart. Whatever it is that ends up being your catalyst, it's all by design and it's all perfect and just for you. And it doesn't matter how big or small that is. It's what created that change in your life.
Yes, yeah. There is no, sometimes we think we need this big, huge moments, but it's sometimes very little moments. It could be a decision, a thought, an idea, and it could be nothing from outside. Everything looks great. It happens internally when we make that decision or we make that choice to do something different. When we were so sick of being sick and tired that we could no longer continue, staying stuck was more painful than moving forward, because change is difficult. But when you come to that realization that you can no longer stay stuck, you will take that hard first step into the change directory.
Yeah, I talk about you have accidental courage or intentional courage. So, accidental courage is you get put in a situation where you have to be courageous no matter what, because otherwise, that's the end. Or it might be that the universe has whacked you with the big stick because you weren't paying attention. So, you have to make your choices now. Or you can have intentional courage where you can make active steps to step towards the life that you want to make without having that big pushback and that big feedback. So, and I find too, the more that you resist change, the more it will be pulled to you. So the more you fight it, the more it will just be. I just keep having this image of a big like plyboard hitting you in the face because you're fighting it, whereas everything's telling you, no, this is the way you need to go, or this is where you need to kind of change now. So I think it's really powerful, the messages that you're sharing in both podcasts, really.
Thank you.
The other question I have, which has just popped into my head, is how I was going to say, with the different books that you've written, do they just kind of flow out of you now? You just had to get over that first kind of hump and, do the co-author thing and then go, oh, no, I can do this myself.
I wanted to write my own book, so I started by dipping my toes and doing those little chapter books to get it out. And of course, going through imposter syndrome. Who am I to write a book? I don't have an English degree. English is not even my first language. I don't have any credentials. who am I to write? But and then, because everybody's gonna read it, and then what are they gonna think? And after kind of overcoming the imposter syndrome, then it was easy. So first one book was in April of 22. Second is July of 22. Third one was, I invited people from my podcast, so we did Soul Parent Volume 1, and then
Amazing.
I did Total Health for Extraordinary Living. I did it with Mind Valley coaches, and in there I wrote 10 Minutes of Joy, another chapter book. Then I did Soul Volume number 2. There was 5, and 6 is The Gift Inside. And after The Gift Inside, I did another chapter, The Happiness Blueprint. It was one of the Blue Talks books that I did recently.
Yeah, amazing. Year. And now it's in your blood. You're like, I have to keep writing. Yeah. I resonate with this because I love writing. So I published one book and 2 ebooks. So, but I have a novel and I've been putting off finishing the editing, but I've got to, I know I want to get it done, but it's just an interesting process. The novel I struggled with more than my first book, which is Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, because that I just channeled. So I just became the conduit and I just put it out there. And even though I channeled the novel, because I say I have like a ghost writer or a spirit writer. So even though I did that, it's like a whole different ball game, right? Like it's, so it's stepping into a new parameter, but we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. So anyone listening, hopefully by the time you hear this episode, I have published it. So we'll see. I'm putting a deadline on myself. And Irina, I asked the guests that come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
That women, or actually everyone, believe that they are worthy and believe in themselves more than they believe in other things. Because we all have that inner voice inside of us. It's always there waiting to be heard. But oftentimes what we hear is our ego screaming when something does not go away. But our inner voice is there as well. So I would love for people to remember that they are worthy and that they have inner voice inside of them that they should listen to.
Yeah, and reclaim their sovereignty, right, and their own power back. It's such a big thing that we're so quick to give our power away to other people rather than remembering that we have all the answers. We just have to listen. Like you said, the gift inside. And if people want to come and find you or check out your books, where's the best place to go, Irina?
So my website is irinashehovsov.com. My books are all available on Amazon. I have a YouTube channel called Happiness Academy _ and podcasts Single Parent Success Stories and Reclaim Your Life with Irina are on wherever you listen to your podcast.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to put all the details in the show notes for everybody so that they can come and find you and connect with you and be inspired. So thank you so much, Irina, for being on the show. And I truly appreciate that you're sharing hope and the power of actually believing in yourself as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.